Kia ora, Jade here, and in this video I'm going to jam on the relationship between our inner rookie and inner expert. And it's this exploration of our desire to want to be an expert in what we're doing and who we are, and this discomfort or dislike of being a rookie or a beginner. And why I feel this is important to speak on is because whenever we just want to be one side or only one aspect, and generally in this example, we just want to get to being an expert, um, we are not paying attention to and somewhat disowning the other side, which in this case is the rookie or the beginner. And I'm an advocate for wholeness, and I'm an advocate because over the years, I have seen the benefit of um, choosing both and accepting both sides of, you know, the story or the equation, accepting both parts of me, accepting both archetypes, and in this case, both the rookie and the expert. I've seen the benefit of embracing both, accepting both, exploring both, understanding both within myself. And I've seen that because I understand from experience what it means to only choose one, what it means to prefer to be one over the other. And when I've had these preferences to be one over the other, I've seen what happens. Um, I've seen the struggle, the conflict, the the word that I'm going for is like the opposite of peace, the chaos that can happen when I've just chosen to focus on one and neglect the other. And so this is about shaping, or I'm sharing this because I am a stand for, I believe in advocating and supporting people to be whole, to accept, to learn how to accept both sides of us, to accept our wholeness. It is only in the neglect of one side of ourselves that we suffer. This is where suffering comes from. We think it comes from not having the thing we're trying to attain, or not. In this case, we think that suffering is created because we are not an expert yet. This is definitely a belief for me. Um, However, if we just, and like what I did, just stopped and learned somewhat the hard way, that it was only in my neglect, my disownment, my unaccepting nature towards my rookie in this example, that I was suffering. That's what was causing the suffering. So when we can accept both sides, just got very dark in here. When we can accept both sides, we become whole. We become a safe space for ourselves. And over the last couple of weeks, I have been peeling back layers, removing labels from my journey, from my identity. And what this has done is freed me from the self expectations to have to show up in a certain way, protect my expertise and my reputation, and yeah, be a certain way. When we take those labels off, we take off those expectations, and we can be free to be who it is that we are. And we are we we're just so much, like, we're so much safer and real for those that we're in contact with when we ourselves are whole and safe within. A lot of people suffer in this world with not feeling secure, not feeling safe, not feeling okay in who they are, and what they have in the world. And I believe that this feeling of unsafety and insecurity starts from within, and our external world, our world around us, and our relationships, and what we're doing, and how we're spending our days. This is feedback to us of how we are doing inside. So that is a really long answer as to why this is important for me to speak about, because upon stripping back all those labels and layers that I had piled onto myself, I am just someone who desires to hold safe spaces for people to embrace their wholeness, to choose to be in alignment with their highest, like with their higher self, and the journey that their higher self wants to go on in this lifetime. And I was reading the book, I forget what it's called. It's next to my bed, but it's by Bryce Courtney. Um, I forget the name of it, but it's about um, it's about this older man who is telling his story. And anyway, long story short, he is in a room with a therapist, and he is an ex what you call it, um he was in the army, and he'd seen some stuff. And through this chapter, he was explaining how uncomfortable and just how resistant he was to this person, who was like a renowned specialist and the best at what he did, therapist, how uncomfortable he was in that room and in that space. And as I was reading this chapter and getting the insight through this book, although it was fictional, but it's so very real, because this is like these I have this is not the first time I've heard this, but just how uncomfortable people are with having to look at the inner workings of themselves. Um, yeah, just hearing those words in the book of how he just wanted to get out of there. He didn't want this person asking questions and diving into his personal life and bringing things up. And as I was reading it, I was reminded of the importance of safety in the space. And even though it's a fictional book, there was no emphasis or no inclusion of this therapist, framing out that there was going to be a lot of questions. And and yeah, it was just like safety is just so important. Anyway, I hope that was of some use. Yeah, and I think sometimes we can just miss that mark so much in a lot of spaces where there's not a lot of safety, for the people involved in this exploration of our inner workings. And so safety is a big one for me. Um, and somewhat how I cultivate safety is by sharing stories, sharing a lot of myself, and it is intentional. It is intentional to create safety, because going back to the point that I made earlier about us becoming safe within, when we are able to accept our wholeness, and we've sat with both our rookie and our expert and what discomfort that can bring up and the dynamic between the two, when we have taken that journey or those journeys, because we can look at many different dynamics, different archetypes, those two archetypes can be interchanged with different ones. when we take those journeys of understanding our inner world and these dynamics that are unconscious, that are in our psyche that we cannot see, we become our energy, our the feel that we give people is safety. And so sharing sharing stories of things that I have kind of gone through, or using my real life examples of how I've looked at these dynamics and these archetypes, that's intentional, so that those of you that are listening are not just listening to some textbook thing. It is actually a journey that, you know, I have gone on, and I'm speaking on it from a place of I understand what it takes to explore these dynamics. So now I want to talk about my experience with these two archetypes, the rookie and the expert. How we open up the door um, to exploring the relationship between these unseen parts of us. How we open that door up is generally through life itself happening. And when we become present and aware of a lesson, a deeper meaning within an experience of our life, that awareness is like a, a light bulb moment where we can see that there's something here on a deeper level for us to look at. In fact, a lot of the struggles and the adversities that we experience in life are often little flickers, or like I just got the image of like Morse code, like and it's like if you can pick up, if you can be aware of the deeper meaning that is coming through, then you can stop and listen to the code of what is being like communicated. And that's our invitation to come in. So in the example of my story, I just happened to be on social media, as you do. And given the nature of how I learn and how I've learnt to learn, for me, I heard somebody say like one sentence, and then they referenced the book, and automatically in my body I was like like it just went all the way through me, like ooh. And I was like, that's it was only like a 1 minute little video, and I was like, I need to read that book. I need to, like, there, that is truth. And that was like the little invitation, because it was speaking to me. It was like, oh, you know, that's exactly where I'm at. And this woman was speaking about, you know, our struggle to um embrace our rookie when we've been in the game for some time. And I was like, oh, this is exactly, you know, what I was kind of dealing with. And so I got the name of the book. I got the Audible. I downloaded it on Audible. The book was called Rookie Smarts by Liz Wiseman. I downloaded the book, listened to it for about 45 minutes, just while I was doing some stuff. And because of the way I learn, and it's not the same way for everybody. Um, I'm a 2-4 projector, and I know what that means for me. I've verified what that means for me in terms of learning and taking in information. For me, I um it's like I've got a puzzle, and of that puzzle there is like a couple of pieces missing, and I can see like the gist of the picture, and I just need to find those pieces. And in this book, and the reason why I listened to it for 45 minutes was to listen for those pieces. And I know this can sound a bit arrogant, or may sound a bit arrogant, because it's not normal in the world, but what I've learned for me is how I learn is that I understand that that's my learning type. So I'm not type, but it's just congruent with how I've always liked to learn. I don't need to read the whole book. I don't need to take the whole course. I don't need to watch all the things or digest every single piece, every line. I used to be a note taker and write down every word. That's just not me. So I was listening for these pieces of this puzzle that was missing, and 45 minutes into it, I could just feel in my body, yep, I've got what I need. Sure, there would have been like other pieces of awesome wisdom, but for the purpose of why I came to this teaching was I got what I needed, and it resonated, and then I went off and I came within to explore what I needed to explore. And what really hit home was this dynamic and this relationship between the rookie and the expert. I remember like it was yesterday when I was sitting in my house in Melbourne, excuse me. Um, Maru and I lived in this smallish house, and one of the rooms was my office, one was our bedroom, and then we kind of had like a spare bedroom. And um, I would sit in my office and I would be so creative and so excited about sharing what I wanted to share in relation to human behavior, etc. And I would just have so much fun with doing it. And I honestly sounded like I knew it all, and I didn't care. I didn't care. I was having fun. I was excited by what I was learning. I was excited by sharing it. Um, I was excited by sharing it, and so I would just share it. I didn't care that I was 10 minutes old, or only a year into my journey. I didn't care. I just the joy of sharing that knowledge, and what it might mean for another was everything to me. Sure, if someone wanted to work with me, great, but you know, the joy of just sharing it was what was alive for me, and I would do it, and I would sit there with my notes like blue tacked up to the wall. I would stand in front of the wall and I would use them as prompts because I didn't have any fucking idea what I was talking about most of the time, and I wasn't sure of myself. And in those beginner years, I remember that time like it was yesterday, and I remember it because of where I am now. I'm 7 years into this journey of, you know, holding spaces for people, whether it be in one on one sessions or in group sessions, retreats, whatever it may be. Um, I'm 7 years into that journey, and I was saying the other day on a live, I kind of feel like Mariah Carey in 2023. Just a bit of a has been, you know, like trying to trying to protect my reputation in the most ridiculous of ways. Like when I think of Mariah Carey, no disrespect to the sis, it's just a metaphor. Like I see her like just dressing up, like it's ridiculous. It's like in her prime, like the 90s, she was life. Like that's all I would listen to. That's all we would listen to. Like she had this swag about her, and then these days that swag has kind of like dissipated, and it's kind of just become she's become this like extra. I remember watching this video of her and she was just like being fucking carried, you know off of stage or something ridiculous like that, and it was like, girl, it's like, sure, you might be like the queen, you might have earned that title because of like your years in the game, but it's like you look damn well ridiculous. um, with your fur, like fluffy nighty or whatever, your diamonds, and being carried off stage like you extra. And it's like, do whatever you want to do. But for me, it's like, that's not the swag that I remember of Mariah Carey, that's not, yeah, that's not that like just natural swag that I felt from her, and why I wanted to sing her songs um, all the time. And even when I've seen her perform, not live, but when I've seen her perform, it's just like that swag, that zest isn't there. It's just like, bro, you trying really hard in the 20th century, like, you know, it just feels like really, yeah, it's seasoned, but it's not swag, you know. So coming back to my story, that's how I felt. That's how I have been beginning to feel, or have been feeling for a while, is seasoned with not a lot of swag. And that upset me. So when I heard this being spoken about in this video, it spoke to me. I leant in. I got what I needed, and I came in and I explored the dynamic between my inner rookie and my inner expert. My rookie was all swag, all audacity, had was so infantile in my journey, but I didn't care. My excitement for what I was doing was a 10. Switch over, like, 6, 7 years later, my intuitive ability to just speak on a topic was a 10, is a 10. And yes, it becomes easier and more natural to just speak on things, but I know a lot more. And so, having known a lot more, it's become difficult to, like, what do I actually speak about? There's a lot of confusion, and like, how do I, like, make this useful for people that I'm speaking to? And now, and like, now it's this, like, trying to get it right. It's this trying to get it right energy. And I don't want to, there's been times where I don't want to, like, start something again or feel like I'm starting again. It's this not wanting to look like a learner, not wanting to look like a rookie, always kind of. And there's been times when I've asserted how long I've coached for, or how long I've held space, rather, um, as a way of, like, getting across my expertise and my authority. And I felt that, like, it's different to how I'm speaking about it now. It's kind of for context, but other times I've spoken about it with the intention to put across my expertise. And yeah, it didn't feel all that nice to me, or didn't feel all that, like, swaggy to me. And so I realized, when I explored this dynamic, it was like, my inner rookie's just wanting to, like, bring the zest, bring the excitement for what I'm doing. And my expert's like, well, no, you can't just, like, we've got to be, like, smart about this. And it was just this, like, there's no cohesion between the two, and it was really starting to take a toll. And so it wasn't until I could really just, like, come into my heart, form this space of, like, treaty, and bring my expert out of my head and down to my heart, bring my rookie up out of my lower parts of my body, the parts that just want to dance and have fun and be excited, and bring it up to my heart, and have these two very different dynamics, archetypes, into my heart space, and just be like, right, what's up, and really, like, explore that for myself. That's when I could see that, in my wanting to just be an expert, or hold on to my expertise and my tenure and experience, I was neglecting my inner rookie and everything that came with that, that zest, that swag, that excitement. And when I don't have access to that swag, that excitement, everything is very serious. Everything is very, like, yeah, very serious. It's a very serious business, and I have to be on, and it's a whole different attitude. And I was like, nah. So acknowledging the strengths of both of these two different archetypes is what has created a new level of freedom for me. And the reason why I share this is it may be the video that you see that sets you on a path to exploring your inner rookie and your inner expert. And so, in conclusion, that's how we balance two very opposing archetypes that exist within us, um, is by making time to understand them, bring, stop the forcing of just being one side and just coming into the middle, bringing both together and having a chat, understanding. And that, yeah, that is what some call parts integration, shadow work, archetypal um, alignment. Yeah, it's the work that matters, because when these parts of us that are very much connected are not in cohesion, then there's chaos, and that chaos shows up in aspects of our life. And the invitation is noticing those aspects of life and that chaos showing up in life, noticing that and knowing that that is the invitation to come in. So I'm going to leave this one here. If you have anything you'd like to share, please do in the comments of wherever you're watching this. And yeah, I look forward to playing with and bringing awareness to other dynamics, other relationships between, yeah, other different archetypes. Ngā mihi kia koutou. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I'll see you soon. Ka kite.